Okay, this video is going to continue on with your second final exam review CR. I think it's CR 34. We're on number 7, and they asked us to solve the system graphically, and there's totally a solution to the system, but it's going to be somewhere way over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my equations, and I'm actually going to solve these equations through substitution and just make sure that I get the correct solution over here somewhere. So hopefully you watched the video prior to this so that you were able to graph these and all that good stuff. So now I'm going to take a look at this. Once I went ahead and divided each piece by 3 on this second equation, I found that I had y equals 1/3 x minus 3. So if I have y equals 1/3 x minus 3, the other one is y equals 1/3 x plus 9, I can take what y equals and substitute it in place of y here. So if I had y equals negative 1/3 x plus 9, and I know y also has to equal 1/3 x minus 3, I'm just going to shove that in place of y. So in place of y, I'm going to put 1/3 x minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x plus 9. Then I'm going to move all of my constants to the right, all of my variable parts to the left. So I'm going to add 3 to each side. I then have 1/3 x equals negative 1/3 x plus 12. I'm going to move all of my variables to the left. So I'm going to add 1/3 x to the right. I'm going to add 1/3 x to the left. Going to have to continue up here. 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So I have 2/3 x equals negative 1/3 x plus 1/3 x, bye-bye, equals 12. What's the operation between the 2/3 and the x? Oh, that's multiplication. How do I undo multiplication? Division. So I can divide the left by 2/3, which means on the right-hand side of the equal sign, I also have to divide that by 2/3. And we get x equals 12 divided by 2/3. 12 divided by 2/3 is the same as 12 times. We have to take the reciprocal of this, 3/2. And I could choose to go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. 36 over 2 is 18. So x must be 18. So it's going to cross way over at 18. No wonder they're not crossing yet. So my solution is going to be 18, comma. Now I just have to find out the y. Got a lot of work all over the place here, so let's hope you could kind of follow along. All right, so I'm just going to substitute back into either original equation. For fun, I'm going to start with this original equation. I can really choose any one of the equations there. So I have 3y equals x minus 9. Now that I know x is 18, I'm going to substitute 18 in place of here. 3y equals 18 minus 9. 3y equals 18 minus 9 is 9. Divide both sides by 3, and y must be 3. 18, comma 3 would be the solution to this system. 18, 3, that's the solution to this system of equations. They will totally cross. They're just going to cross over here at 18, 3. So if I was at 9 and I went up 1, right 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then up 1 more, right 3, 12, and that will get me to 15. Up 1 more, right 3, that will get me 18. 18, comma 3 seems like a reasonable spot where these cross. All right, that's interesting. All right, let's move on. All righty, Roo. Find the measure of angle V. Make sure you show your work. Okay, great. Finding the measure of angle V. 2 ways to go about this. We could use the fact that if we have an exterior angle, the sum of the non-adjacent interiors equals that exterior. That's one way. The other way to handle this, which is how I think a lot of 8th graders would see this, maybe I'm wrong, would be to look here and to say, okay, this forms a straight line that sweeps out 180 degrees, so I could find this little angle in here. 180 minus 144 10 minus 4 is 6, 7, so 36. So this must be 36 degrees. And then you look here and you have this beautiful triangle. Oh, so ugly. And we know the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I can take those three angles and I can add up to 180. So I could take 36 plus 6x plus 1 plus 7x, and I can set that equal to 180. Three angles in a triangle add up to 180, and now I'm just going to solve this equation. So 36 and 1 is 37. 6x and 7x is 13x equals 180. Of course, today's the day I don't bring home a calculator. I probably should have. Subtract by 37 on both sides. 180 minus 37. 10 minus 7 is 3. That's a 7. 7 minus 3 is 4, 143. So 13x equals 143. Oh, God. 13 times 10 would be 130, so I bet you this must be 13 times 11. If I divide both sides by 13, I guarantee you x is 11. 13 goes into 143. 13 goes into 14 once. 1 times 13 is 13. Remainder of 1, drag down the 3. 13 goes into 13 once, yeah. And how I did with that was I quick in my mind thought 13 times 10 gets me to 130. 143 is 10 more than 130, so I knew x had to be 11. They want the measure of angle V. Angle V, they're telling me, is 7x. So the measure of angle V equals 7x. That's 7 times, put an 11 in place of x, 7 times 11, 77. I don't know why these say x equals 11, but they're asking me to find V. Well, I can tell you x is 11, but the measure of angle V is 77. So just check with your teachers whether they want you to cross out all those x's. Or if they want you to say x is 11, but the measure of angle V is 77. I just want to walk through this question one other way, just to show you the other method I was talking about at the beginning here. We have this beautiful exterior angle, 144. And always, if you have a triangle and you draw an exterior angle out here, these two non-adjacent, the two angles inside the triangle not touching the 144, if you add those together, they have to add up to the 144. So if you take your 6x plus 1 plus 7x, if you take those two angles, because they are inside this triangle and this is an exterior angle that doesn't touch either of them to the triangle, those two angles have to add up to 144. And I just want to show you either way we'll come up with x is 11. 6x and 7x is 13x plus 1 equals 144. Subtracting 1 on both sides. 13x equals 143. Divide by 13, divide by 13, x is 11. So either way, x is 11, but angle V is 77 degrees, okay? So you can either find this little angle and use the fact that the three angles in a triangle add up to 180, or you can just know that if you're given an exterior angle in a triangle, the two non-adjacent, the two angles not touching it inside the triangle add up to give it to you. I don't know, just two ways to look at that problem. Let's move on. Number 9, let's simplify this expression. Okay, alrighty, Roo, let's take a look. So if we were going to put this expression in simplest form, a couple of items we can do. Let me throw a 1 on that x. If you don't see an exponent, you know to assume it's a 1. A couple of things I can do here. First of all, I'm going to do it two different ways again. It's probably driving you crazy. I don't know. Every one of these problems, I just see like some kids will approach it one way, some kids another way, some kids another way. So first of all, 24 divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 24 8 times. Some kids might do this. They might write out 8 and then x to the third means x times x times x. Y to the second means y times y. And then in the denominator we have x times, and then y to the fourth is y times y times y times y. Then they might say, oh, x over x, fancy form of 1. y over y, fancy form of 1, y over y, fancy form of 1. So then on top I'm left with 8. X times x is x squared over, in the denominator, y times y is y squared. Some kids may have approached this a different way. So I can see right now my final answer is letter C. Some kids may have approached it this way. They may have just said, oh, it's division. It's division. 24 divided by 3 is 8. If I'm dividing with exponents with the same base, I keep my base and I subtract my exponents, 3 minus 1. For the y's, I keep my base and I subtract my exponents, 2 minus 4. You got to put the 2 in, then minus 4. Top exponent minus the bottom exponent. So some kids would get at 8, x to the 3 minus 1 is 2. Y to the 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And that's not incorrect. That's just not the final answer. When they want it in simplest form, we don't leave negatives in our exponents for simplest form. So this would give me 8x to the second. Y to the negative 2 is the same as 1 over y to the second. Then straight across the top, straight across the bottom, 8x squared over y to the second. Either way, in simplest form, you get letter C. Letter D is also equivalent. It's a beautiful expression that actually is the same as this. It's just not considered in simplest form because we still have this negative in an exponent. So I bet you a lot of kids might jump to getting D as an answer, especially if they just follow the rules of exponents. But they just have to go one step further. Let's try the next one. All right, let's see. Determine which equation has the greatest slope. Show your work. Okay. Sorry. Let me go back. All right, let's take a look. So again, for slope, we have to put each of these equations in y equals mx plus b. Once we get it in that form, the slope is just the coefficient of x. It's the number that's being multiplied by the x. So I have to tell you right here, I already know my slope is 4/5. 4/5 is less than 1. It's 0.8 if we make it a decimal. Let's go ahead and put this in the correct form. We have to get it in the form y equals mx plus b. So to do that, I have to isolate y all by itself. So I'm going to subtract 8 on each side. And I have 2y equals 3x minus 8. These are not like terms. Don't try to shove them together. To get y by itself, I'm just going to divide each side by, each term by 2. 2 times y. How do we undo multiplication? Division. To get y by itself, just divide each term by 2. That's 3/2 x minus 4. So now I can see in this second equation, my slope is 3/2. For the second equation, my slope is 3/2. 3/2 is the same as 1 and 1/2. 4/5 is the same as 0.8. I'm just going to put them in a couple forms, so hopefully it'll jump out at you, which is the greatest slope. Right now, 1 and 1/2 is definitely greater than 0.8. Let's go ahead and solve this one. So here, it's almost in the correct form, but we have this coefficient of -4 on the y. So I have y equals, and positive divided by a negative is a -3/4 x. Positive divided by a negative is a -1. So this slope here is a -3/4 or a -0.75. You can totally see this second one has the greatest slope. 3/2 is greater than 1. Both of the other slopes are less than 1. So which line is going to be the steepest? 2. Looks to me like 2. All right, hopefully that helped. I think that's the last of them. Try to have a good day.